Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Conga webinar. This is Conga Composer Exploring the Template Builder, the Conga Template Builder, I should say. I'm Shelly Houlihan. I'm a Senior Product Specialist here at Conga, and I'll be taking you through today's webinar. First off, we have a little bit of housekeeping. The webinar is slated to last between 15 and 30 minutes. There's not a whole lot of content to cover, so we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. But if you do have a question, please submit your question via the GoToWebinar question function, and we'll get those answered at the end. If we run out of time to answer all of the questions, we do post a Q&A on our FAQ page in our knowledge base that will be associated to this specific webinar recording. So you can always check that if we run out of time at the end. After the webinar, the video recording will be posted to YouTube and our knowledge base, again, along with the FAQ and the PowerPoint. So if you have anything there that you'd like to review, that'll be available in the next few days. We are making a few assumptions today for the webinar, just that you have basic familiarity with Conga Composer. So if you're not familiar with building a solution from scratch, like building the Conga Composer button and that sort of thing, then you might want to review that before you go through today's webinar, or maybe just go through that after. Nothing we're doing today is advanced whatsoever, but we are making that assumption that you're basically familiar with Conga Composer, building the button, and also working with templates. So that leads us to our second assumption, which is that we're assuming you're familiar with Microsoft Word templates. I'm going to show you a couple of other things in the other template formats that we support, but mostly we'll be focusing on Word since that is the most popular template format for our customers. And just as a reminder, the other template formats that we support are Excel, PowerPoint, PDF forms, and HTML email templates. Okay, so again, today is using and exploring the Conga Template Builder. So first we're going to cover navigating the Template Builder and all of the features that are available there, like the data sets, filtering, using what we call the template canvas, and then some formatting options for different merge fields. And then we're also going to show you how to build a template. So that'll include using, again, that template canvas, as well as copy-pasting the fields and drag and drop. So I'm going to close out of this PowerPoint presentation just momentarily and pull up a browser window to start. Sorry, I had a couple of things open here. So again, we're assuming that you've already built a Conga Composer button, or you're familiar with that. So to start today, I'm just on an opportunity object, and I built a button called Invoice. So the first thing about the Conga Template Builder is it's what you want to use. It's pretty self-explanatory, but when you're building your Conga templates. And to access it, you're simply going to click your Conga button or link, like I just clicked Invoice, and you'll get what we call the Conga dialog box, which is basically the user interface for Conga. From here in the upper right corner, you'll see a button for Tools and Settings, and click there and then select Template Builder. And then your screen will change over, your window will, and you'll see all of the data sets that you have available in the template builder. And once these pull up, I'll explain a bit more what a data set is and how you can identify the different ones. Oh, that minimized for some reason. Let me just pull that back up. Okay, so here you have the template builder. It's going to always say template builder at the top. And then in the very upper left corner, this is a hyperlink to return to whatever object you're running from. So I don't need to do that because I have mine running as a pop-up window, so I could always just minimize and go do something on the opportunity and then bring that window back up. But if you were running this inline, where instead of getting a pop-up window, you're just having this display within the Salesforce frame, then that can be handy to toggle back and forth. Okay, the next thing you'll see is the name of whatever record that you had launched from. So mine was the Ethna Home Products Big Deal, and you can see that here back on the opportunity as well, and that's just a reminder to you as to what record you were looking at. The back button will just take you to the previous screen, that Conga dialog box. Then we get into the actual template builder tool. So to start out, all of the data sets will be collapsed, but if you want to expand all of them, you can click this button to expand all the data set options, and then you can see it expands all of the different data sets and then lists the fields. So there's quite a few fields in master, but if we scroll down you'll see then there's master account. I'm just going to collapse them once more because it's a bit easier to explain when they're collapsed. So as far as data sets go, we have a bunch of different master data sets that you see here at the top. Then we get into offline items, and lastly org, user, and system. So the data sets that you should always see, regardless of what object you've placed your Conga button on, for example, mine's on an opportunity, but you'll always see master data sets, at least one. I get these sort of bonus ones for account, contact, and contact account because I'm on an opportunity. Conga sort of gives you those as a bonus. So this is the related account, this is the primary contact role, and then for that contact role, the related account in case it's different than the account that was listed up here. But at the very least, you should have just a plain master data set, and that refers to whatever object that you had placed your button or link on for Conga Composer. So again, because I put my invoice button on the opportunity, this master data set refers to all of my opportunity fields. You can see here all of them are preceded with opportunity underscore, indicating they're from the opportunity object. We call that master data just as sort of a general term for whatever your main object is, where you placed your button, rather than having this have to say opportunity and then having to change it when we, put a button on an account. Instead, we just use master as a sort of general term. It also is sort of a reference to Salesforce's structure of master detailed data, which brings me to the next data set after master. Because I'm on an opportunity, as default behavior, Conga will automatically retrieve all of the opportunity products that we see down here. So you see I have these 4 products. Those are displayed by default in the Conga template builder under op line items. So opportunity line items, same as opportunity products. And if I expand that data set by clicking that plus sign, you'll see these are all of the opportunity line items or opportunity products fields. So that's what we refer to as detailed data because it's a related list or a detail object of that master, which is our opportunity. Okay, and then org, user, and system are the other 3 data sets that you should always see regardless of what object you're running Conga on. So master, org, user, system, those are sort of, you can think of them as your default data sets. Those are the ones Conga always gives to you. So master we talked about. Org is going to be organization or information about your company. So you can see I have address. If I get down here, I have the org name. I have this dummy org called Flatirons Technologies, the phone number, etc. All of this is pulled from your company profile, company information in Salesforce setup. So if you ever see something that's incorrect or needs to be updated, that's where you'd want to go to change that information. User is going to be my information. So it's going to show my name and email address and so forth. This is pulled from my user record. So if I am logged in under somebody else's login, then it's going to display their information. Whoever's logged in and has clicked the button, that's whose information will show there. And then finally, system is just a couple of fields called today and now. Today simply shows today's date, and now is both the date and time. And don't worry, if you don't like the formatting of that date time field or the regular today field, you can always change that using formatting switches, which we'll cover a bit later. But we've just often found that customers need to display today's date or today's date and time. So we displayed those in a simple data set called system. Okay, so those are all of your different data sets. You can organize things, we talked about expanding all of the data set sections or collapsing them. Those are the folders, the buttons with the folders here sort of on the right side. These are going to sort the fields either in descending, so reverse alphabetical, that's why it has the Z to A, or the A to Z is going to do ascending. So they start out in ascending order, but if we wanted to switch that, then you'd see source all the way at the top, and then it goes through reverse alphabetical. I don't typically use the sort very much just because I'm more of a fan of using the filter field at the top to find the appropriate fields that I want. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to find the field for opportunity name. A little tip is that you don't want to search for something like opportunity Again, because almost every field on here is going to include the word opportunity because they're all coming from the opportunity object, and Conga includes that as part of the field name. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to click that X, which will clear the contents of the filter field, and instead I will search on something a bit more unique. So let's try name. And then you can see you're still getting quite a few fields and that it's searching across all of the different data sets, but you can just collapse the ones you don't want to look at. And we know that we want opportunity name, so that should be pulling from the master data set because that's our opportunity data. So I'm just going to scroll down, and here we go. I find opportunity name. So there are a couple of different ways you can build this field as a merge field on your template. I'm just going to drag template builder over a little bit, and I'm going to start with Word just because, again, that's the most popular. I built beforehand just a really basic start of a template. So we just have this fake logo and name and address and so forth. And then I was pretending that this was going to be an invoice. So the opportunity name, let's say that I want to put that in the bill to section of my table. So one way you can do this is just click on the field name and then click what we call the copy field icon, which is the little button here that looks like two pieces of paper. You'll see that the field name flashes yellow. Let me do that one more time just so you can see it. And that just indicates that that field name has been copied to your computer's clipboard. Down at the bottom, you'll see that I have the copy field format selected as Word, and I want to do that just to match whatever template type I'm using. And then finally, I have the option ticked for use text-based merge fields. So when I paste this into my template, you can see it comes through with the double curly brackets or curly braces on either side. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see that a bit better. So this is the merge field that we just copied over. What's nice about this, again, is that it's text-based. So if you all are familiar from our previous release, you used to have to use what we called traditional merge fields, which would look a little bit different. If I just delete this field that we just inserted and I remove the text-based merge field option from Template Builder, if I copy that field name again and paste it over, it's just going to have the straight field name, which does not work. You need to have either the curly braces on either side like we had before, or you'd need to do your insert, quick parts, field, and then we go down to merge field here, and then you'd paste the field name like this and click OK, and then it gets the double chevrons. So that was the old way of doing it, but we found that that was kind of a lot of clicking around and a little bit cumbersome for some folks, so that's why we introduced this text-based merge fields option, which I really like. So again, easy way to do it is just click that copy field icon and then you can paste it over. So as long as you're getting either chevrons or double curly braces on either side of your field, you're good to go. The other way that you can do this, let's see, I'm going to try to search for, there should be a field in here called, if we go to the contact, let's try first name. So let's say, for example, that I was the primary contact. Another way that you can do this is just find any field that you need, double click it, and you'll notice it gets moved over to what we call the template canvas, which is just sort of this right-hand pane. And I want to display both the first name and last name in this primary contact cell. So I'm going to delete first out of my search and do last, and then find the opportunity owner last name to go with my first name, and I'm just going to double click that and move that over as well. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. What's nice about the template canvas, it's really handy if you're using multiple fields at once. So I can either just copy these and paste them over. Do note that they come through in a table of their own. So I was using this sort of outer table to organize my fields, and then I just added opportunity owner first name and last name, and they came through in a table as well. The reason you can tell it's a table is because we have that blue dotted line, just denoting where the borders of the table are. You can see that these come through in a separate or sorry, a different font than I was using before. They come through in Times New Roman, so you can always just highlight the fields and change them back to Calibri or whatever you were using. The other way you can do this is by drag and dropping. So before we did a copy paste, if you just click on it so it gets the blue sort of outline in the template canvas and then just drag and drop, you can see where my cursor is, sort of that black dotted line right here in that cell, and then just let it go and it's the same thing. And again, you can just reformat for whatever font and so forth you want. So that's the copy field icon, is this guy, versus the template canvas is using sort of this right hand pane. I'm going to minimize the Word document just for a moment and show you all how this is really the same exact functionality in Excel or PowerPoint as well. So let's say I'm just going to grab, this time we'll get the account name, so I'm going to minimize master and go to master account. And here's account name. So again, I can use this copy field icon, but I forgot that I was on Word. So if I just switch that over to PowerPoint and click that icon once again. Oops, sorry. I'm really confusing you folks, probably. This is an Excel template, so I should format it for Excel. You can see how it'll automatically change the fields that we'd already selected. Let me just remove those so we're not as confused. Again, we want account name. We finally got the right template format, thanks to my brain lapse. And then I'm just going to click that copy field icon, put my cursor in whatever cell I want that to appear, and then just paste. And it automatically formats that for the Excel naming convention, which is the ampersand equals the data set name, a period, and then the field name as it appears in Template Builder. So it's a really handy way to switch between the different field formats, template formats, in case you all are doing some stuff in Excel, maybe other stuff in Word, and so forth. If I pull up my sample PowerPoint template, which is here, I could do the same thing for PowerPoint. So let me just pull up Template Builder so you can see that. There we go. And if I change that to PowerPoint, and then again we can either click and drag it over. Again, it's going to place that right inside wherever you were. The PowerPoint naming convention is the same as the text-based Word naming convention with the double curly braces on either side. But I always tell people, just so you don't get confused, just select the appropriate template option down below, and that way you're just ensuring you don't have any kind of mistakes. So I'm going to close the PowerPoint presentation I had here, as well as the Excel spreadsheet, just so we're not getting confused. And let's go back to that Word template where we were building out a bit of a sample. So far we've just been working with master data, which are just our master data sets. We could also pull some user information, like if I wanted to be listed as the Flatiron's technology contact, I could grab my name here and place that there and so forth. You can put the fields in just like we have been from those data sets, no problem. But once we get into pulling in what we call detail data, which is again our offline items data set, that's where we need to build in a Word template what we call a detail region. So if you all have worked with reports or offline items or quote line items and Word templates before, you're probably familiar with this. What I like about the template builder is that it will build the detail region for you. So I'm just going to clear that name selection. And again, work within my offline items data set. So I'm keeping that one expanded and the rest of them collapsed. I find that's a little bit easier to format the various fields and so forth. And let's say that in our invoice we want a separate table that shows the product name, the quantity, and the price. So I'll just search for name. Again, if we search product, we're going to get a lot of results. Whereas if we do name, you can see I can dial down to product name pretty quickly. Because this is an example where I want to include a bunch of field names at once or in one area, I'm going to use the template canvas because that's what I really like for displaying multiple fields. So I've got product name. You can see that when I added it over It's a little bit hard to see because Conga doesn't make this really very large, but on the left-hand side and the right-hand side in the red font, you can see it already built the detail region for me, which is really handy. And those are just the two merge fields, one for table start and then the one on the right-hand side for table end. So it's just delineating that anything between those two fields is coming from the particular data set that has been listed, which in our case is offline items, and it will then display those field values for however many results we have in that data set. And if I minimize Template Builder, you all can see that for our offline items data set, we have 4 products. So again, the benefit is I only have to build one row or one set of merge fields, but when we do the sample output or the test merge, you'll see that it'll just expand that section for all 4 of those products. So we started with product name, and then I want to get quantity. You can see as I start to type quantity, it does like a live search. It's automatically filtering that down. So you don't even have to type the whole field name if you don't want to. Again, I'm just going to double click, or you can use this Add Selected Items button. Either one will move that over to that template canvas. So you can see they go in order from left to right. I started with product name. Whatever you select second will go to that spot farther to the right. And then let's get price. We'll just do total price and move that over. Okay, so if I scroll from left to right, you can see that I have offline items, table start, offline items. That's the beginning of our detail region. And then our 3 fields, product name, quantity, and total price, and then the table end. So I can either drag and drop again or copy paste this to my template. I kind of like the drag and drop. Again, it comes through in that Times font, so just change that to whatever you like. This is looking pretty good, but it would be nice if I had included what we call a header row at the top of this table, just to give sort of a column header or a category name to each of these various fields. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to jump back to Template Builder, and if I tick this box for Include Label, so I'm just down here at the bottom, I'm just going to remove the table I already built, which I just clicked that. I should have done that a bit slower, but I clicked that button on the right, the drop down, and then did remove. I'll show you guys that again in a moment. So let me just start over. We'll do name, and there's product name. I'm going to go through this a bit quicker the second time since we already walked through this. And then we add total price. Okay, so again you can see that we have our detail region, and in between that are the field names. The cool part now is that it's added that header row. So each column has the include label option has been included up above. So what that's doing, it's just saying the label for the product name field is product name. So it's put that up in the row above. Same thing for quantity and then price. So again, if we click the table, we can copy paste it or click and drag. Let me delete this old table that I had in there. We don't need it in twice. Click and drag, and there's our table. So the only thing that's a little bit, or can be a little bit problematic about including the labels, is that you'll notice they come through with just exactly how they appear in Salesforce. So opportunity, line item, and it's all one word, quantity. We probably don't need all that. So it's probably a best practice to go through and clean these up a bit. Product name is fine, quantity, and then let's delete opportunity, line item, and we'll make total price 2 separate words. And then I'm just going to select the whole table again and do Calibri 12-point font. So this is looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and save this just on my desktop, and we can do a quick test merge so you all can see what this looks like. Okay, so again, the nice part about Composer is that you can keep the template open, so I'm just going to minimize that. And then from Template Builder, I'll use the back button. Before I do that, earlier when I removed that entire table, I just used this drop-down button, and then you can go remove, and it'll take away whatever you want. But again, because I want to do a test merge, I'm going to use the back button, and it takes me back to the Conga Composer dialog screen. And then because in my sample org I am a system administrator, I'm have this option to merge from a local template. By default, that isn't turned on for end users, but you can always turn that on if you wish. There's a setting in Conga to do that. And then just click your merge and download or preview button. The difference between those two buttons, once you have used parameters to do things like activity logging or output the file to PDF, stuff like that, those particular actions will not take place if you use preview, but if you do merge and download, they will. So right now I don't have any parameters or actions included, so they're accomplishing the same thing, but later if you'd included those, then those are your differences. So our template is on the right, the output file is on the left. Let me just blow this up and make it a bit bigger. So you can see I have our master data, various fields up above, and then our product table down below. I like the way this looks pretty well, except for the total price. I wish that was formatted for currency, because it's not very easy to tell if that's $35,000 or $3,350 or what's going on there. So I'm going to show you guys one more quick trick to format those fields, and then we can take some questions. So I'm just going to go back to the Conga Composer dialog box, and then from Tools and Settings, again, just pull up Template Builder. And let me just build that product table one more time. So again, we had product name, quantity, and then total price. Okay, so you can see I've got all three fields again on the template canvas, but what I'm going to do this time, if I click that drop down button again, before I did remove to just take everything away from the template canvas, this time if I go all the way down to fields, then it displays the three fields I have in template canvas. The one that I'd like to format for currency is total price. So if I click on that one, you can go again on the next menu to what we call picture switch. This is basically how to format your field. So if you see picture switch, I know that's sort of an odd name. That came from Microsoft, so please don't blame us for a terrible name for something that makes no sense. But these are your formatting switches, or your format field. So picture switch, and then I want currency formatting. So if you scroll over to total price, you can see that the currency, that's the picture switch, as Microsoft calls it. That's telling Conga Composer, I need to format that field for currency. You could do the same thing for quantity if there was a particular number formatting that you wanted. Just click on quantity, again go to picture switch, and then you could do number, and it will format it appropriately. So let's get rid of this table again, and I'll pull the new one down, and y'all can see what that looks like a bit better. So there's our number picture switch or formatting, and then currency. Don't worry too terribly much if they break from one line to the next. That's just because this middle line doesn't have enough space to display all of this currency and table end. So I'm just going to save, and then we'll do that local template merge. It's still selected here, so all I have to do is preview or merge and download again, and we'll get the freshest version. Since we're pulling that locally, Conga understands or remembers what changes we made in the local template. And then you can see that's a lot better. It's a lot easier to see now quickly that that's $35,000. And then those were formatted for numbers, so it included the decimal point. If you liked it the way it was before, where it was just a whole number and no tenths or hundredths place, we could revert back to that again in the template builder. So those are the most commonly used features, everybody. I know we blew through that a bit quickly. I wanted to leave a few minutes for questions and answers. I haven't seen any come through on the GoToWebinar feature, but does anybody have any questions they want to submit? I'll give you a second here to type it in. Okay, Chandler just asked a question. Where will this meeting be available for download? Great question. I know I mentioned that at the beginning, but let me just show you where these get stored. So if you go to our website, which is congamerge.com, and then let that load on the webinar. There we go. And then if you click the support tab up here at the top, this is our all brand new support page. So you'll notice it has a slightly different URL. We're calling this Conga Sphere. So it's like your one-stop shop for everything support. And if you go under the Conga Composer Release 8 heading, so this one on the far left, and then you want recorded webinars, this will open the full list. So you can drill into any of these. You know, here's the FAQ. Like here's one about useful Conga Composer parameters. If you click that, it takes you to the article. The video will be right here, and then you can see the FAQ and the presentation agenda, which is just the PowerPoint at the bottom. So that's where all of the recorded webinars are. If you all want to see the upcoming webinars, if I go back to the home page, we have the upcoming webinars are under registration. So we do try to send out emails regularly about the upcoming webinar schedule, just what's coming up in the coming month. But if you miss that email, you can always navigate to the support page and take a look here at the upcoming schedule, and it'll give a brief description about what's going to happen in the webinar, and then of course provide the date and time, and then you can register right here. Oh, we have a lot more questions. Let's see. How do we upgrade from our current version of Composer to version 8? Great question, Jessica. The most important thing when you're upgrading is that you do not want to install your current version. So again, do not uninstall. Keep what you already have. And the easiest thing to do is just go to the Salesforce App Exchange and simply install or upgrade Conga Composer right from there. So you just open up our listing, and then as soon as you do the Get It Now button and you log in with your Salesforce credentials for whatever environment or instance that you want to install in, it will recognize that you're doing an upgrade, and then it will simply add in the new features from Release 8. So again, do not uninstall whatever you currently have. You want to keep that. The problem with uninstalling is that you'll lose all of that great Conga work you've done over the past months or years. So you want to keep all of that and then just do an upgrade by going to App Exchange, Get It Now, and then you'll get all of the new features. Is there any way to change the way an AutoSum is added to the table in Word? That's from Francis. Francis, that's a bit more of a detailed question, so if you don't mind, I'm going to take that one offline and we'll answer that afterward. Jenny asked, this is her first time viewing Conga. Are you able to save the template options? So Jenny, I think what you're asking is in the template builder, if you can save the template options that display here, like which template format you're using and whether you want to include the label and so forth. These settings get cached in your browser settings, so it will remember whatever you had the last time you ran Template Builder. So that's one way you can sort of save them, but as far as like a true save option, there's not a way to do that in the Template Builder. But it's just a matter of clicking, you know, the radio buttons and then the check boxes, so hopefully not too terribly inconvenient. Okay, a couple of these guys I'm going to skip over because again they're a bit more detailed, that would take a bit more time. So Nancy, your question I'm going to take offline about merging the dashboard. Instead of pulling the name and quantity total each time. Oh, so Jenny, you're asking about if it will save this when I want to pull it the next time. I kept removing it and recreating it, but yeah, if you had kept this up and then just wanted to like format the fields or whatever, you can always come back here and do that. So yeah. Do I need to get my own login for Conga? So Marie, if you are new to Conga, you're probably either on a free trial or you've just started out as a customer. It does require a user login to run it within Salesforce. So if you don't have a Conga Composer license or login assigned to you, it's not really a login because it's just running entirely within Salesforce. So you don't require a separate username or password, but you need to be what we call an authorized user for the Conga Composer app within Salesforce. And if you're not clear about that, just ask your system administrator, or you can go to our support knowledge base and search for user license or user managed users, and it should give you an article on that, and we can provide some more details on that after the webinar as well. Where can we get a demo of nested query reporting? Anna, great question. That's a really great feature that's now available in Release 8. As of now, we don't have a demo or a canned sort of video for nested queries, but if you're interested in that, contact our support team. Let me just throw up the this is on our website as well, but let me just put this up on screen so y'all can see this. It's support@congamerge.com is the website, or excuse me, the email address to submit cases and questions, and the support team, either new business or customer success, would be happy to review those nested queries with you. Okay, so I think there were a couple of questions, mainly Nancy's and Francis's from before, that are just going to be too complex for us to cover today. But thanks so much, everyone, for those questions right at the end. Those were great ones. And please review our support tools if you're so available to do so. Again, our new support site is congamerge.com. Click support. It'll take you over to the Conga sphere. And we have lots of great resources here. The search bar is a live search of our knowledge base, so you can pull up all related articles there. We've got great features down below, as well as tips and tricks. This is a link to our Conga blog. We post a new tip and trick every week. Those are great ways to learn a little bit more about Conga. We also have what we call deep dives, which is more advanced topics if you're willing to get a bit more advanced and dive a bit deeper into Conga features. And then do more with Conga is sort of our most popular use cases. So there's all sorts of features here that I really encourage you all to check out. And if you have any content that you'd like to see or ideas for upcoming webinars, we always love to hear about those. You can just submit those to that same email address I had up earlier, support@congamerge.com. Thanks so much for your time today, everybody. Great participation. I really had a great time. I hope you learned a lot about Template Builder. And if you do have any other questions, please feel free to email us. We'll get all of the FAQ from today loaded into the knowledge base and emailed out to you all. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.